Hey everyone, Mary Ellen Banakin, Sue Jennings. How you doing today, Sue? Good today?
I'm doing great, Mary Ellen. How are
Good.
you?
I'm great. So today we're talking about you are moving, how to pick a moving
Mhm.
company. That's
Right.
really important. Like we hear this question all the time. We're going to talk about a neighborhood, Brackley, which is the Providence Group in Cumming.
Mhm.
And what we love about North Atlanta is the spirit of all the entrepreneurs here. And our design tip of the day is upgrade your flooring. So let's dig into our community of the day, which is Brackley. And I'm going to pull
Mhm.
that up so you guys can see it a little bit
Right.
too.
So Brackley's being built by the Providence Group. It's incoming. It's an amazing location, very close to the newly built Cumming City Center. And it's just a remarkable collection of single family homes as well as townhomes. So they're great home designs, great layouts. They're carefully crafted for your family's needs. I mean, Providence Group listens to their clients and really does a great job with their floor plans and their architecture. So there's a diverse number of living options here in Brackley, and it makes it a perfect fit for an active lifestyle. So it's also great modern living. I mean, these floor plans are perfect for that. So when you live close to the Cumming City Center, you really have the best of everything because you can easily get to where entertainment is located, recreational activities, and it's just a convenience that intertwines to make this community so perfect. You also have access to an abundance of outdoor recreation activities surrounded by parks, the marinas of Lake Lanier, and so forth. Townhomes are priced from 502,000 and go up from there, and they're generally 1,893 square feet to 2,004 square feet for 3-bedroom, 2-car garage townhomes. Single homes start at 574,900.
Oh, sorry, music. There you go.
Those are range in size. Those range in size from 28 square feet to 30,333 square feet. Oh, that's a pretty kitchen. Look at that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Wow.
I love it how they have on their website these videos. I just had to shut the little music off as we're
Right.
going around, Sue. But this is kind of
Right.
giving you a good idea of the quality and how we really do love the Providence Group. They do such
Right.
a great job.
Well, you can configure your single home there, your detached home, anywhere from 3 bedrooms to 6 bedrooms. And they also do have 2-car garages. You know, I've got a question for our listeners today, and it's
Yes.
about kitchen cabinets. I want to know, do people still want white kitchen cabinets, or do they like right there? There's vanities in a master bathroom with like a light blue or light gray cabinet, or do people want to go back to the stain cabinets? What do you think, Mary Ellen? Do
I don't
people?
know. I really love all the colors. I love the
Mhm.
colors, and I think that that's such a great added, to a kitchen or to, a bathroom. Let's look
Mhm.
at this other one here. We're just going to see,
Yeah,
and we have some music. Here you go. And here you go. This just gives you, they do such a great job with their, I think also with their landscaping too, as well. And here's obviously a furnished model here that you see. And it really, just all the lighting too, like even talking
Mhm.
about lighting, look at the
Oh, that's like a
waterfall cat.
that. I
That's
think that
awesome.
countertop was Cambria Swansea. It looked like Cambria. I know the Providence Group does put Cambria quartz countertops in their higher end properties, and Cambria is a great product because it is made here in the United States.
Yeah.
And just they have beautiful, beautiful colors and patterns to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's amazing what they do. And, model homes, of course, are going to cost a lot more than the regular home. homes because they put a lot of upgrades in it. But you know what? It's really good to see the quality. And I always ask when I go into a model home, which I have a question for our viewers. When you go in a model home, like if you see a property, like a new construction that says from the 600s, usually you go in there and they're really from the 700s. But what I always ask, and do you ask this when you go into a model home, what is the price of this model home? I
Look
think
at that lighting under the cabinets.
I know, fantastic.
Gorgeous.
Fantastic. So
Oh,
anyway, that was, and there's one more I want to just kind of show you here. Just give me a second. And this is also there as well. Oops, there we go. Yeah, this is the Glendale. So just kind of, so you can kind of see the designer homes, but I wanted to ask our viewers, like, I always ask the model home, who's ever the agent on duty, like, what is the price of this specific home? You know,
yeah,
the
check
upgrade.
out the way that they have it with the upgrades. You want to know what the base price is, as well as, you know, what the cost of all those upgrades were. And that could be, you know, even down to the appliances, the additional millwork, lighting.
Lighting's huge. Yeah. Yeah. So what about that kitchen? Really nice.
It's
So it
really
just kind of
pretty.
gives you a feel of what the Providence Group does as a builder. And you could just, and location of this is amazing and coming. It really is. Great
Yeah.
location, great community.
And everyone always wants to know what the schools are. So here, Cumming Elementary School, Otwell Middle School, and Forsyth Central High School are the schools for this particular community called Brackley by the Providence Group.
Okay, I think we've seen enough of this kind of stuff. So let's stop this and dig into our what we're going to talk about today, Sue. So what we're going to talk about today is you're moving. How do you pick a moving company? So first of all, I would love to ask our viewers, how do you pick a moving company? Do you do your research online? Do you ask for referrals from your friends or your great realtor friends? What do you do? I mean, so let's start there, Sue. So where do we go? Let's go.
Right. Well, first of all, I think the distance you're moving is the first criteria, because movers do vary. There are long distance movers, regional movers, and then local movers. And there are different kinds. So local movers operate within a 50 to 100 mile radius of where you're located. Generally, it's the same city or metropolitan area, and they usually charge by the hour. Then regional movers, they cover a broader area, such as multiple cities or shared neighboring states. The pricing can be a combination of hourly rates or flat fees. And then the long distance movers, they handle the moves that cross state lines, hundreds of miles. Costs are based upon weight of your belongings and the distance traveled. So what should you look for when you are selecting a mover? First of all, you always want to make sure they're licensed and insured.
Yes, definitely that.
Yeah, so they need to be licensed by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. That's the FMCSA. And
look at you with all these fancy little, oh my God, fancy. Say that again. What is that though? What?
You're going to ask me to say that again? The FMCSA. It's for interstate movers generally. And you want to ask them what their insurance coverage is. And if you have specialty items, and I can tell you this by experience, I have a piano that's a beloved family treasure. And so you might want to get extra insurance on things like that.
Or a specific company that does there's specific companies that move like things like that. So, yeah.
Right. And you also want to talk with your current homeowner's insurance company, because they generally don't cover your belongings while they're in transit, even if you're going to be using the same insurance company at your destination property. So that's a conversation you need to have. And if need be, purchase extra insurance and find out how to do that, maybe either through the mover. I'm sure they can advise you as to what insurance companies offer that, or even through the insurance company you currently use.
And Sue, that's a great
Yes.
tip. So that's a tip that everybody needs to know. I bet that a lot of people don't know that you need to call your homeowner's insurance to make sure that your stuff is covered when you're moving from one house to the next.
Right, right. So, and even if it's like a corporate move, don't assume that your corporate company that you're being moved by is going to cover it, because they might not either. So be very, very specific with your questions.
Yes, good tip.
Yeah, so it's really important to look at the reviews of different movers and consider their reputation. And the funny thing is, one online review can have a very positive experience. The next online review can have a very negative experience. And sometimes that comes down to what crew that particular household had when they did the move. So you might want to check Better Business Bureau ratings and also ask for referrals.
Yeah.
Make sure that your moving company is being transparent in their pricing. Obtain written estimates. Go over those estimates, see what it covers, what it doesn't cover, and be cautious about low quotes. I always like to get 3 quotes on anything I do, whether it's a home repair or whether, it's something else. And that way I can see, maybe who's lowballing it, trying to get the business, and who's actually realistic. You want to know what's binding versus non-binding on those estimates. A binding estimate is like a fixed cost. So you want to know what variables you could expect on the back end that might cause the pricing to go up overall.
Sure.
You also want to ask them, like when we talked about, a piano, for instance. Ask the mover what experience they have with specific needs items that are valuable, such as artwork. Handmade grandfather's clocks, pianos, things like that. And you might want to get, like we said before, special movers to handle antiques, pianos, things like that. You can also ask to have those things crated, especially like artwork. You can have clocks crated. You can have, things handled in a specialized way. Also, overall, ask what hidden fees might exist, extra charge for stairs, extra charge for carrying something a long distance, or heavy items, particularly heavy pieces of furniture might cost more.
And also like refrigerators, washers, and dryers and stuff. And make sure you have insurance on that kind of stuff, because sometimes it's always like if you move a refrigerator, that's why we always tell my clients, keep them there. Right. For some strange reason, whenever you move a refrigerator, whether it's going up and down steps, it seems like it just breaks down.
I've seen that with washers and dryers, and especially when they unhook the washers and they carry them out, they tend to leak all over your carpet and everything else as they're taking them out of the house. So, it's really and the cost to move them and, everything else, it might be a less expensive option to just leave the appliance and start over new in the next house.
Yeah. That's always unless it's like, I have to have that, but you can buy the same. Look, I have a story. So I have clients who loved this washer dryer, and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to buy the same exact one.
Yeah.
So they just bought the same exact one and left it at the house, because honestly, carrying those things and watching movers carrying those things is like horrible. It's like,
yeah. Well, Mary Ellen, I've even done that with cars. I had a car I loved, but I left it behind on a move and bought the exact same car in the same exact color once I got to my destination, because moving a car cross country and all can be very, very expensive. But,
and also like,
done it. I mean, it's a choice you have to make as to whether you're moving the car or not.
And also, like, I had clients that were moving from Georgia all the way to like Washington State, right? And they were older couple, and they had to have people move their cars. And they also had a special person move their animals with them, their cats
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, look into that too. Like, oh my, this could be very stressful on your animals as
That's
well.
true. That's true.
So like,
I have flown a large dog cross country. You have to
yes,
tranquilize them. You have to crate them. And not all the airlines will take a large animal anymore like that. And
yes,
remember, the larger animals like that, they have to put them in cargo. So you have to watch the tarmac temperature in the summer, that it's not too hot on the tarmac, and in the winter, that it's not too cold on the tarmac. And that is what determines whether your pet will actually be able to fly that day or not. It's pretty complicated. Delta doesn't do the large animals anymore, as far as I know, but I think American still does. So you have to check with your carrier on things like that.
yeah.
But I don't, we moved that dog to California and moved him back. And I don't know that I would do that again, at least not to him.
Yeah, put him in a car and drive him. And that's why there's companies that actually do that. So
Right.
remember, we're a resource of everything. We've gone through everything with clients. So if you need to have someone, and we even had, people, there's companies out there that will take your car and drive it to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take your animals, drive them to the destination, which makes it so much less stress on people. So
Right. So brings us to our next segment. Really, you want to know what what services your movers can provide.
sure.
You first of all, we will always want to know like what kind of packing they'll do, how much it costs to pack, will they unpack, and do they do full or partial services on that? What you might want to do is pack as much as you can on your own, and then just have your mover
Right.
pack like your large mirrors and things like that that are fragile or heavy. You want to know, as far as services, what they do in terms of loading and unloading, because you want to make sure that all the items, of course, are safe during transit. If you have any additional storage needs, you'd like to ask those questions about short-term versus long-term storage. I mean, if it's very short-term, like just a couple days, they will leave your items on the truck and keep the truck in a locked, safe yard. If it's a long-term situation, they do have to unload the truck, put the items into a storage facility for however length of time, and then put them back on the truck again. So that's a little more expensive.
I'd love from our people, our peeps, tell us your moving stories, because I love to hear about moving stories, right? What was good, what was bad, and because we like to tell our clients the good, bad, and ugly of everything, right? So let us know in our comments on like what was one of your favorite moves? How did that happen?
Yeah.
And another thing I think is good to ask them too. Like, do you take the beds apart? Do you put the beds together? Do you put the mattress on it? Like all those type of things, because all of a sudden they're just gonna, are they going to put those things together, or are they just going to leave them and you're going to have to sit there and put them all together? So yeah, I mean, those are like things that people like, they don't think about until like that day. Like, oh my gosh, can you take this apart? Can you put this together? So always have in your car, some tools too.
Right. And one of the big questions that people forget to ask the movers is, will you pick up my cardboard at the end after I've unpacked everything? Because you don't want the cardboard hanging around. Cardboard's stinky. I mean, cardboard smells. You don't want it in your home any longer than it has to. But people will, take those cardboard boxes and then it's like, wait a minute, what do I do with these? So actually, one of the best things to do is try to recycle them, put it on, Facebook Marketplace or something that you've got moving boxes, and people will grab them up because they're expensive.
Everything for free.
Yeah, well, I mean, seriously, plus recycling, it's better for the environment if you can give them to somebody who needs them for their move. So I did an entire move and bought very few boxes of my last house. And Mary Ellen will say, you did what? You didn't buy any boxes for that? Because it was a fairly good sized move, but I had a relative that had recently moved and had an equivalent size house. And so I was able to recycle all of those boxes and save quite a bit of money because I was able to reuse all those boxes. So
let me tell you my tip about boxes, okay? And this
Mhm.
goes back to my mom. You would tell me this. So when you're moving, do you know where you can get free boxes from? Is the liquor store.
Mhm.
And they're good sizes because they're small, so you can move them yourself. But you can put a whole bunch of like all your stuff from your kitchen, from your bathrooms, and you can put those in boxes. So free boxes. Always go to liquor store, and you can get free boxes all the time. And you could go to different
Right.
ones and just gather them and put them in your car. They want to get rid of them just as bad as you want to take them from them.
Right, right. And they're strong boxes too, because bottles of liquor are heavy. So
Yes.
they're great for putting your books in them. And, you know, packing heavy things in smaller boxes is just easier on everybody else's back too.
Yeah.
So yeah, use those liquor store boxes. But when we want to estimate our cost to move, what do we need to do? We need to have our mover come in, walk our property, and give us an estimate or an assessment of the volume that we have and the price of everything, including those specialty items. So, and like I said before, distance will affect the cost. If it's, if you're moving locally, that's going to be a lot less expensive than if you're moving across country. And also find out if there's any additional services that your move might require. There timing of moves is important too, because there are peak seasons with moving. So it might be more expensive, like to move on a weekend, for instance, than it would be to move during the week. So take all that into consideration, and your budget will love you for it.
I have one more thing though that's really interesting. So if you live like on a hill, or your driveway is very not should I say on a hill or whatever?
Gee, who's else are we thinking of, Mary Ellen?
or basically you're in a neighborhood where the trucks can't get through. Right. You have to take that into consideration too. So remember, they might charge you more if they have to go up a hill or down a hill or to get things. And they might need a smaller truck than to put it into a bigger truck. So I've seen that a lot in corporate moves, and I'm sure you've seen a ton of that in our clients. We've experienced it too. So just, it's funny that you don't think about things like that, but just coming to mind as we're talking about this topic, it just comes back to, I remember that client who said that they had to have somebody had to go up the hill and down the hill to get their stuff and things.
Yeah, it's called a shuttle. Sometimes the movers will have to bring in a smaller truck, take the things off the larger truck, put them on the smaller truck to get the smaller truck into the neighborhood because of tight turns, tight corners, lack of parking, lack of space. It depends upon how close together the houses are. Is there a cul-de-sac in consideration? I mean, even in a neighborhood with larger homes, with larger properties, if the house is located on a cul-de-sac, that truck will probably back down the street all the way into that cul-de-sac because they won't be able to turn around in the cul-de-sac. So, there's just a lot of logistics that have to be taken into consideration. So this brings us to, what does it cost to move? We've talked about all these different things, but what does it cost? So remember, these are just ballpark numbers we're going to give you. But if you have a 4-bedroom home with 2.5 baths, 3,000 square feet, and a 2-car garage, what's it going to cost you? So for a local move, so you're moving within the same city, Alpharetta to Alpharetta, for instance, it could cost you, maybe $3,500, depending upon how much stuff you have. I think it'll probably cost you more than that. This is what, the numbers were given to us on the internet. But in a regional move, which is 100 to 500 miles, you could do it for anywhere from $3,500 to $7,500. And then a long distance move, which is over 1,000 miles, I would say it's $7,500 on up from there, depending upon what you have to have done, and how much stuff you have ultimately. I know of one move, it was a corporate move, so maybe the prices were jacked up from that, but that was over $40,000.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Mhm.
And that, so I want to ask our viewers um, to get 3 estimates, always to get 3 estimates,
Mhm.
and to see those estimates and how different they can be.
Right.
It's amazing how different they can be.
And this is why I said, see what you need the movers to pack versus what you can pack on your own. And sometimes a good rule of thumb is set, you've got a certain number of days until you have to be out of the property, and try to figure out how many boxes you need, and then divide that by the number of days and try to pack a certain number of boxes at each day so that you're always chipping away at it and it's not overwhelming that way. Even if it's just 3 boxes a
Yeah.
day, you'd be amazed over a week you've packed 21 boxes. That's a lot.
And remember, like your grandma's, china and stuff and things that are really important to you, just pack them yourself and put them in your car.
Right.
Valuables. Valuables. Yeah. Valuables.
Yeah, label everything very well. Sharpie markers, tape. Those are all things you need to get when you go to Lowe's and buy some boxes. But now we want to talk about some movers in the Metro Atlanta area that were recommended to us. I'm going to quickly mention the first couple, and then we're going to dive deeper into the last 2. The first ones I want to mention are Elite Moving Solutions. They offer local and long distance moving services. They also offer storage options. The next one is Charlie's Angels Movers. They provide standard and specialty moving services with a pricing guarantee. Then there's 24/7 Moving. They're known for their flexibility and their availability. They offer packing and storage services as well. Midtown Moving and Storage, Atlanta Movers. They offer comprehensive moving and storage solutions as well. And then you see these trucks running around all the time. College Hunks Hauling Junk and Moving. I like them because they move junk as well.
Yeah, we should do a whole podcast on junk. We should just do a podcast on junk, like who can remove your junk and where do you get all your, you have to go to the dump and dump things and all that kind of stuff. We should do one on that.
We should talk about the costs of going to the dump and junk removal too. That would be a good one.
Sue has a funny story about that, having to wear a hard hat to go drop stuff off at the dump.
I did. When I went to the dump one time with a load, I pulled into the dump in my SUV, and I was the only one there in a car. Everybody else was there in a truck, and I had to purchase the hard hat and the neon vest before they would let me enter the dump area. And but I got it done. I did it.
There you go. Sorry, just a little squirrel there on junk.
So now I want to talk about our 2 favorite movers of this particular podcast. This one I have personal experience with. They're the movers for the Braves, and who doesn't love the Atlanta Braves?
Right.
But it's Atlanta Peach Movers. And remember, there's no tree in their name. It's Atlanta Peach Movers. They offer superior service. They're really focused on customer satisfaction. And they will have a transaction coordinator that will come out, meet with you, sit down and talk with you. And that coordinator will be in touch with you until that last box is moved and so forth and so on. They have an outstanding reputation because their peach promise means that they're not happy until you're happy. And I have personally used them. I have recommended them to clients and had very good experiences. Again,
me too, as well.
The experience can vary by the crew. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Yes.
Our next one, Mary Ellen, I don't know if you have pictures on this one, but it's Works Moving. And Works is spelled WIRKS. And they provide great customer service as well in Atlanta. I believe they're in the Marietta area, which doesn't really matter where they're located. They'll go anywhere. They've been in business for over 12 years. And they're known to be very reliable. They've served over 20,000 customers, and they've maintained a customer referral rating of 98%. So anyway, they have over 1,700 positive reviews on Google. And, we're sure they will do an amazing job for you, make your life easier before, during, and after the move. So we're up to the next portion here where we're going to talk about whether you should move yourself. I mean, when I was younger, yeah, I moved myself all the time. Don't anymore. So the pros are, of course, a cost savings. It's typically cheaper than hiring professionals as long as you feed your friends and
beer, pizza, right? Beer and
plenty
pizza.
of water and Gatorade. And so you can control your packing, you can control your schedule. You could move over a couple of weekends if you have the luxury of time, things like that. The cons are the physical demand, the toll that it takes on your body, on your friends. And when your friends hear you're moving, suddenly they're busy. So it can be a little strenuous that way. It is time consuming to move yourself because you're just not a professional at it. Like when we talked about Atlanta Peach Movers, they actually have a house that when they train their movers, they have them pack up the house, move it into the truck, and then move it out of the truck and unpack it in the house. And they do that back and forth many times until they're satisfied that their movers are professionals at it. So in other words, your move as an individual, as a novice, you could be taking a little bit more time to move than it would if you had a professional. Plus, you can damage your things because you don't know exactly what you're doing in terms of tying them into the truck correctly, balancing the truck out, and so forth. So if you are going to be moving yourself, what you need to do is you need to first think about reserving in advance. And I say in advance, a U-Haul or a Penske truck. Even Home Depot has trucks that you can rent. And you need to get your family and friends on board for the date you want to pack. You need to pack and you need to label those boxes and make sure you're buying boxes. If you can't get all of them free, you're going to have to buy some. You're going to have to figure out what sizes of boxes you need. You need to buy packing paper, bubble wrap, tape to seal your boxes, and plenty of markers to label your boxes. So you need to also, maybe look it up online, how to strategically pack the boxes, also strategically pack your room so that you can still live in the property until you're ready to move. So, and you want to distribute the weight evenly because you want to make sure that your friends and family can actually pick up these boxes at the end of the day after you pack them. So when you load your truck, you want to distribute the weight evenly. You want to put your heavier things in first, and your larger things in first, and then get your little things mixed in between there. It's kind of like playing Jenga or Tetris. If you're a good Tetris player, you probably can pack a truck pretty well. So make sure you prioritize items too that you're going to unpack first, and maybe label those back boxes as to, I need this box on the first night. Make sure this one doesn't get buried. This is a priority box. It has my bedding. It has my toothbrush in it. It has, my next pair of shoes and my clothing. So, anyway, and you also still want to consider moving insurance. So that's something that you can talk to your insurance company about. And that's all I want to
ask everybody. I got something to ask everybody. Have you ever moved yourself? And how was your experience? I think that everyone will say, yeah, when I was in college, I did that. Or when I was younger. As you get older, you're like, no, I don't think so. But I would love to know who has moved themselves and how was your experience and what did you pay your workers? Beer, pizza. I want to hear that. Water, Gatorade.
I also want to know what was the most difficult item you ever moved, whether it was a heavy item or whether in my situation, we were moving a graduate school friend of ours. And she, of course, was in an apartment. We had to go upstairs. And on the landing of one of the staircases, her sofa bed decided to open and took all the skin off of the shins of all of us that were holding the sofa bed.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Stories. We could tell stories till we're blue in the face. Yeah, that's definitely fun times and how much your body ached the next day. That's what I want to know. All right. So we talked about moving, how you pick a moving company, kind of costs, what's involved in moving, which is really important because a lot of people don't put that in their budget, but it's a big budget item when you're moving.
Right.
So anyway, so now we're going on to what we love about North Atlanta. So what do we love about North Atlanta today, Sue?
Well, we love the entrepreneurial spirit of the
Yes.
North Atlanta area. I mean, living in Alpharetta is interesting because we have over 700 tech companies here. So most of
Yes.
those companies are little tiny companies. They're mostly entrepreneur run companies as well. Plus, we've got a ton of gorgeous little boutiques and coffee shops and so forth in downtown Alpharetta that are all, entrepreneurs that started these businesses. So there's a certain energy about entrepreneurs. It also gives us a very diverse economy. There's this ecosystem about startups, and they're very supportive. We try to be very supportive of the business community here because of the
Yes.
innovation at every level. Atlanta is also home to major corporations. We've talked about that in other podcasts. We've got some amazing universities and so forth here, but those universities are also spawning these, great new ventures and all that of businesses that people are starting, and it fuels all that creativity, that resilience, the collaboration. There are places where these entrepreneurs like to go to meet, to exchange ideas, to network and mastermind in general.
Yes.
And so it's just a really fun environment here as far as, it's a powerhouse for dreamers and beyond.
And I love all the creativity. Like all of a sudden you'll drive by and you're like, oh my goodness, look at that new doggy spa. And this is what they do differently and this and that. And it's just so interesting. And all these cute little boutiques that are dreams. So think about it. The entrepreneurs, we're dreamers, right? They dream and then they have so much creativity and and so we need to support our local businesses. We do however we can. And I encourage everyone, buy from your local boutiques and just support the local businesses. So thank you so much for that, Sue. I mean, that was good. I think the spirit in North Atlanta, you see it a lot. A lot of people own their own companies and their own businesses, and it's really fun to watch, and it's fun to watch them flourish. All right, let's go into our design tip of the day, which is upgrade your flooring. Okay, this is a good one, Sue. This is a real good one. So
flooring is so important to enhancing the value, the appeal, just the feel of your home. I mean, nobody likes to walk into a home and see worn out, dirty carpet, but high quality finishes or even new fresh finishes can really update the look of a home, especially when it comes to attracting buyers. It really is important that, when buyers walk in a home, they really should be looking up and looking around. But a lot of times, out of natural habit, people walk in and they look at their feet and they look at the floor. They do see the flooring. And if the flooring is scratched, if it's faded, if it's dirty, if it's worn out, if it's matted, it really sets the tone in the buyer's mind. So, treat yourself. There are all different flooring options out there. The pricing on flooring has really come down a lot, I think, over the last couple of years. There's so many more options. And really, I was in a home the other day. We listed this home actually, and I thought the floors were hardwood. I really did. And the owner said to me, no, these are LVP, luxury vinyl plank flooring. And they look just like hardwood, but they're much less expensive. And, buyers really love that sort of thing. It just makes the home much more desirable. Stylish flooring just makes the home look cleaner, makes it feel larger, more inviting. And so what I'm saying is take a hard look at your floors, especially before you list your home. Make sure that, you're adding warmth to your home, you're adding freshness to the home. You're going to get the return on your investment from upgrading that flooring.
Yeah, and there's something for everybody. And one more thing that I would totally suggest is don't have different flooring in different rooms. Just make it all, because it makes it all open. Like on the first floor, have all hardwoods or LVP. I can't say that. Say that 10 times. Or what do you like? Tile or whatever. Just make it all the same. Don't have one room or different carpet, one this color carpet, one the other color carpet, one hardwoods, just make it all continuous. So I think that also, I think it dates a house if you have it in different floorings and different things. So anyway, anything else to add on upgrade flooring? I think we kind of touched it. So today we had a great podcast. We talked about you're moving, how to pick a moving company. And within that, we talked about pricing. We talked about, we told some great stories, and we wanted to hear your stories too as well. Then we talked about Brackley, which is by the Providence Group, and it's incoming in this really great community right by downtown Cumming, the Cumming City Center. And it was just it's a great new subdivision that it's just for everybody. It's real nice. And then we talked about what we love about North Atlanta, about all the entrepreneurs and the spirit and how local businesses just thrive in the North Atlanta area. And then we talked about upgrade flooring. So we wanted to ask our viewers, what is your favorite flooring right now? Like, what are you putting in your house? If you had to change something in your house right now, what kind of flooring would you put in? So I think we'll end with that. And thanks for listening, and follow us on socials. And we really appreciate you listening to us, and have a great day.